Tonight, drug find lands traveller in court. Greenpeace takes stock of its resources. And experts thresh out transportation strategy. Very good evening. Leading this bulletin, the stage is now set in Wellington. Today, thousands line the streets of New Zealand's capital city, paying tribute to the 16 teams who will battle it out for top honours at the Wellington Sevens this weekend. Our sports reporter Irfan Khan and cameraman Monish Nand are in Wellington and file this report.
If you can't beat Wellington on a good day, then today was unbeatable. The marching bands, the whistles and the thousands of fans who lined the streets of the city signalling the Sevens is officially underway.
It's very excited now, very excitement. There's excitement all around and a lot of noises. And I think it's going to be like this during the game in the weekend.
Fiji were the darlings of today's parade as supporters cheered them along.
It is a great day and it's pretty good atmosphere around. This is the fun time of Wellington. We get to see the fans, we get to see all the supporters. So, I'm looking forward to this. It should be good fun to be on the Fijian float.
But the task remains on the back of their minds.
We have the task at hand. The boys are looking forward to it. We've prepared well. So we're looking forward to the weekend.
The atmosphere was electrifying as supporters also turned out in numbers and costumes were also order of the day. Reigning champions England here to defend their title.
Yeah, we are. We're ready again for another tournament. The weather's beautiful here. It's a complete different sort of atmosphere.
Enthusiastic onlookers cheered the team as they passed by, while office workers also shouted from balconies along the street. South Africa is riding high after back-to-back victories in the IRB leg so far.
Yeah, it's a lovely night. It's always nice to come to New Zealand and experience the parade and to the upcoming tournament.
As the players and fans are enjoying the atmosphere, so am I, soaking it all on my first visit in the crazy rugby city.
There are 16 teams competing this weekend, and there is one team who knows just how big this tournament is.
It's really good, especially for us, to see our family and the whole nation, supporting us. It's really cool and definitely get the boys up.
The New Zealanders determined to claim to that golden trophy.
It's a good buzz, I think this is what makes the difference from other tournaments, and all the teams are looking forward to the parade, and it's a good buzz going into the weekend.
Another year, another rugby party, as focus will turn to the business end from Friday. Irfan Khan, Fiji One News.
And we'll be getting more updates from Irfan Khan later in our sports bulletin. A 60-year-old man appeared in the Nandi Magistrates Court today, charged with one count of possession of illicit drugs. Gregory Wilcox is alleged to have brought in 3.79 kilograms of methamphetamine. Wilcox arrived in Nandi from Hong Kong on Sunday and was arrested by customs officials after his bag was checked and crystal-like substances concealed in a black plastic was found in his bag. Magistrate Benny Dalitwidama said that penalties for such cases were a fine of $1 million or life imprisonment. Wilcox has been remanded in custody and will reappear in court on February 12th. The case has been transferred to the Lautoka High Court due to the seriousness of the offence. The Catholic Church in Fiji has told its followers that it will not accept any marriages held outside a church or chapel. And more specifically, the church is strongly advising its members against beach weddings held at resorts.
Clearly spelled out in a newsletter to its followers, the head of the Catholic Church in Fiji, Archbishop Peter Loy, has stressed that all Catholic marriages should take place in a church or a chapel. Archbishop Loy goes on to emphasize that if held in a hotel, it must take place in a designated chapel and not on the beach. While this may be interpreted in different ways by different people, another major Christian denomination has a different view.
The differences you will find with the different churches in Fiji is whether or not marriage is one of their sacraments, and this is an issue of faith and doctrine. So, for example, for the Roman Catholic tradition, marriage is one of the 7 sacraments of their church in their doctrine. For Protestant churches, our 2 sacraments are baptism and Eucharist, Holy Communion, the Lord's Supper.
According to Reverend Bhagwan, while marriage is also a blessed and sacred sacrament, one must not forget it is also a legal contractual obligation.
In the current legislation, there are registered marriage officers and they are not necessarily ministers of religion or of various religions. They can be public office holders as well. Recently, the Fiji government opened that up to of ministers of religion, so other people can hold those positions. So that is something we also need to take into account.
Bhagwan says there may be some similarities between the stance taken here in Fiji and in overseas countries, but it is also in accordance to state laws.
In other countries, for example in England, it is not only the marriage officer that is registered, it is also the place in which the marriage is conducted that is registered. But for us in Fiji, the legislation is just about the marriage officer. So that is the focus. That is why marriages can take place anywhere in the country according to the current legislation.
And within all these irregularities between legislations and theological doctrines, one must also not forget the two individuals celebrating marriage itself.
It also comes to the issue of the couple getting married, where they value marriage in as far as their faith is concerned. So I think the challenge is for us as ministers of religion to continue to talk to our members about the sanctity of marriage, also to work with them after marriage takes place. Premarital and postmarital counseling is very important, but that it is the difference in doctrine, but also how each person values their faith according to their marriage.
Questions have also been sent to the Catholic Archbishop earlier this week. Apisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
Global environment NGO Greenpeace is reassessing the future of its operations in the Pacific and in particular here in Fiji. The body is seriously considering various measures and has not ruled out the possibility of even shutting down its Suva office as it relooks at its global operations and priorities.
Greenpeace Australia Pacific has embarked on a consultation process with its regional offices. This is aimed at gauging the usage of its already limited resources. It's understood this could ultimately affect operations at its branches like this one here in Suva.
We have a number of offices in Australia and elsewhere, and we are going through a process now looking at the Suva office and having a consultation process about its future.
Asked what would happen to staff at the Suva office, Pearson only says a decision will be made soon. Currently, there are 4 permanent staff that operate the Suva office.
I don't want to preempt any decisions that we make, but we expect to make a decision on all of these matters in the next couple of months.
The Suva branch's future now rests on the decision made after the consultation. Pearson added that if there was a move to shift offices, it would not affect the work Greenpeace champions in the Pacific.
No, not at all. What we're absolutely committed to is that Greenpeace will always have a strong presence in the Pacific and continue to run strong campaigns, particularly on oceans. That won't be changed.
Greenpeace set up its Suva branch back in '94. Since then, they have fought tirelessly for environmental issues here and in the region. Revive of all, Fiji One News.
Thieves broke into a Daytech office along Gordon Street on Sunday. Police spokesperson Atunaisa Sokomuri said that 18 Dell laptops and 9 HD laptops were stolen. Members of the public have been urged not to purchase laptops sold by unidentified people on the streets. Investigations are continuing, and those with information that could assist police have been encouraged to phone numbers 919 or 917. 13 years ago, stakeholders formulated the Greater Suva Transportation Strategy. That strategy is now being reviewed. As Salitestat reports, this new strategy will encompass the Fiji Road Authority's development plans for the capital city.
The Greater Suva Transportation Strategy was established in 2001. 13 years later, the Fiji Roads Authority has started reviewing this strategy. FRA says it wants to make sure that works undertaken over the next 10 to 20 years facilitates the economic development of Suva.
We know that all these other organizations, we get so much information that other stakeholders have concerns about the issues that affect the Greater Suva area. And we want to make sure that we identify those issues and come up with an integrated view. So we want to hear what they're thinking, what their plans are for the future.
From the input of these important stakeholders, a new strategy will be developed that will last until 2030. Those behind the initiative say all crucial factors will be incorporated into this new strategy.
We would like to look at walking, cycling, disabled access, safety and security, developing, enabling economic development, commercial development, freight, businesses, schools, but also cafes and restaurants. So there are so many different elements that impact in Suva.
An independent consultant has also been hired not only to carry out the review, but also put together the next development strategy.
We've been on the ground and we're understanding the issues of congestion and safety and pedestrians. We want to see if there's anything else that we've missed. Are there other groups that already have plans? Do they have some information that we could use to make this a better strategy?
More consultations will be carried out over the next 6 months. Halitesh Dutt, Fiji One News.
Still to come tonight, new venture to benefit young people. And mangrove planting at the Coral Coast. Hello again. Just recently there has been an influx of ships berthed out in the Suva harbour. Our news team found out the reason why this fleet of ships lie idle out in the open here in the capital's harbour.
For quite a while now, these ships have been docked out here in the Suva harbour. Over the last few months, these fishing vessels have been using the harbour as a safe haven for many reasons.
Some of them are waiting for the fishing license to be given to them. Some are waiting for spare parts to come from China. And also you might recall it's in today's paper that PEFCO has just opened. And the majority of these vessels, they normally feed, they normally service PEFCO.
With concerns received from the public, the Fiji Port Corporation Limited is keeping close tabs on these foreign and locally owned vessels.
We are keeping close tab with them, and we'll be meeting them every month for them to give us an update of what they're doing with all the fishing vessels. Some also waiting to go on the slipways. And also we've also received confirmation letters from the slipways that some of the majority of the vessels have been booked to go early this year.
Given all these vessels are occupied and pay an undisclosed anchorage fee, FPCL officers do make sure the environment is not harmed in any way.
We've got a team that normally goes around, periodically from our master's department and just check on all these vessels to ensure that they don't dump into the sea.
Some vessels are waiting for the fishing season even though there is a decline in fish stock. According to Kurusinga, there is no act that governs how long these vessels can dock, but FPCL is doing all it can to give locals and tourists a better view of the harbour.
I believe it's a concern. It's a concern, especially to the Suva public, the number of fishing vessels that are already here. You can say it's an eyesore, but then again, if you look at the other side, that they contribute to the economy. But then again, be rest assured that Fiji Port is on top of them, and we are strictly monitoring them at this point in time.
36 vessels are currently docked in the harbour. Reviver for O, Fiji One News.
A pilot project in Lami could soon see youth there becoming pioneers in social media and related technologies. A unique partnership between the Foundation of the Peoples of the South Pacific International and the New Zealand High-Tech Youth Network, along with the Lami Town Council, will soon see the setting up of Fiji's first computer clubhouse. Absalom Rambo with the details.
For children and youths with a knack for IT and media skill studies, Lami could soon become their most sought-after township. A new initiative in this particular field could just be the answer to many youth's issues in this era. Lami has been chosen because it has a good mixture of formal and informal settlements.
One of the ways that this project can be useful is trying to change the mindset of the kids that are coming out of Lami to move them in the other direction and away from the life of crime.
Last year, 3 stakeholders approached the relevant landowner to traditionally ask for this piece of land to build the center. Situated behind Gawia Police Post, the strategic location says a lot about the objective behind the vision.
We kind of formalize the partnership that we had between the High-Tech Youth Network New Zealand, Lami Town Council, and the Foundation of the Peoples of the South Pacific International.
Though working under a common vision, the roles of the 3 partners differ. High-Tech Youth Network will provide the program. Lami Town Council will provide location and the town and its people for the project. FSPI will be responsible for running the project, building capacity for children and youths.
Kids don't need to pay anything to enroll into this program. So the program will run probably from 3:30 to 4:30. It's just 1 hour after school. What it has is an academy with some modules of courses that the kids can go through, and these courses are designed by Adobe and Microsoft.
Discussions are ongoing between the Fiji Higher Education Authority and FSPI to recognize children who could do well in this program so they can be included in the National Qualification Framework. Apisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
The Maritime Safety Authority of Fiji is urging all boat and ship owners and operators around the country to register their vessels before the 5th of March. AMSAF Chief Executive Officer Neil Slack says that heavy penalties will be imposed on those that fail to meet this requirement.
The Maritime Safety Authority of Fiji is not taking chances when it comes to the registration of small boats and ships. They are now working on registering all boat and ship owners before the 5th of March. Those that do not do so will face the consequences.
The Maritime Transport Decree and the Ship Registration Decree that come into effect from March 5, 2014, we're talking about on-the-spot fines of up to $500 for vessels that are not surveyed and registered, and for small craft under, or the small craft, we're talking about up to $2,000 if that's taken through a court system, and for larger vessels that are not classified as small craft, we're talking about fines of $5,000.
With an estimated 4,000 small craft boats all around the country, those living in remote islands will also be required to register.
Only this week we have deployed 3 small craft survey and awareness teams that are operating in the main divisions of Fiji, but the more remote maritime locations, to enable anybody that desires to have their vessel surveyed to take advantage of that opportunity.
AMSAF says that at the end of the day, it's about the safety of maritime travellers.
The legislation that we're bringing into effect has been undertaken with massive and wide-ranging public and stakeholder consultation, so we would expect when it comes into effect on March 5 that it is our legislation, because we asked the stakeholders, what do you need? We've drafted it into the legislation, and we would expect a high level of voluntary compliance of stakeholders.
The ship and boat registration started on Monday in the Northern, Western and Eastern Division. Nriubukelangi, Fiji One News.
15 Papua New Guinea nationals have enrolled at the Fiji National University's School of Tourism and Hospitality. PNG's Tourism Ministry hopes these students will be able to pick up good tips that can be applied in their country. The students will pursue studies across a wide range of courses offered in the tourism sector.
We have the tourism industry where it's a sleeping giant for Papua New Guinea, and bringing the students across like it to study tourism and hospitality, it's a very big opportunity for the students, and also back in Papua New Guinea for the tourism industry. We're trying to bring the moral, that work of the tourism to grow up.
It's expected that when they return home, these students will surely boost the development of their tourism industry, which is expected to grow as a result of the resource boom Papua New Guinea is experiencing. There's optimism these students will also contribute to specific areas that's still lagging back home.
We can show people that tourism is not a sleeping giant, but it's an industry where we can go out and we can show people that we have come this far to study, and we can go and do whatever we can do back in our country there. So we as the Ministry of Tourism we are very proud and happy to bring the students down to study here for 1 year. And if they go back, they can go and do what they have learned from here, and they can build up the tourism there in Papua New Guinea.
One major hotel on the Coral Coast, the Shangri-La's Fijian Resort and Spa, has held its first sanctuary volunteer event for the year. It marked World Wetlands Day this week with up to 29 volunteers, led by Marine Manager Meroni Mataika, in planting over 100 mangrove seedlings. This was also part of restoration works to mangroves surrounding Yanuda Island, which is home to the resort. To date, close to 2,000 seedlings have been planted on the mangrove flats around Yanuda Island. Fiji signed up for the Convention on Wetlands, which came into force in Fiji in August 2006. Mataika says since 2014 is the United Nations International Year of Family Farming, it was also timely that the theme Wetlands and Agriculture was chosen as a theme for World Wetlands Day this week. The Reserve Bank of Fiji received 68 complaints against various banks and insurance companies last year. Out of that, 60 were resolved by the country's Premium Bank and Licensed Financial Institutions, or LFIs. Statistics obtained from the Reserve Bank reveal that the lowest number of complaints, 11 in all, were received in the fourth quarter last year. 26 complaints were resolved in the first quarter. According to the RBF statement, a majority of the complaints were banking related, such as mortgages and bank fee charges. Complaints also included those related to credit cards, interest fee charges, fraud and forgery cases. During the year, spot checks were conducted. Various meetings were held to address concerns raised by the complainants. The Reserve Bank is currently working out a memorandum of understanding with the Commerce Commission . Stay with us. We have the latest from around the region up next. Australian authorities estimate that they have saved up to 200 homes in Perth from a bushfire. The blaze started in Forestdale just after midnight yesterday, and strong winds pushed it towards Banjup, Auburn Grove and Atwell. At its peak, more than 200 firefighters, 60 trucks and a fleet of aerial water bombers helped contain the fire. Initial reports are that 6 homes have sustained minor damages, but further assessments are being carried out. About 70 residents attended a community meeting at the Armadale Arena. And remember, you can view tonight's Fiji One News Bulletin on our website. That's at www.fijione.tv. You can also watch previous news bulletins as well as our current affairs, business and sports shows. You can now also get news headlines directly to your mobile phones. To subscribe, just text SUB space FTV News to 777 and you can get your news and sports headlines via SMS. Charges apply and you can view our terms and conditions on our website. The annual Women in Business Awards hasn't quite received the response organisers were hoping for. President Dr. Nur Bano Ali said there's been a general lack of confidence over the past few years and they are now hoping to rectify that. Dr. Ali said women have often been reluctant to step up for the awards.
They don't consider themselves ever good enough to put up their hand and be counted for an award. So we need to, it's a confidence factor, it's a societal factor, and we want to break all that down and say, look, you can put your hand up.
The organisation hosted a luncheon at Bad Dog Cafe at Damoda City Complex today. Dr. Ali said they wanted to encourage women's participation and to command continuing support from Digicel. The deadline for the awards has since been extended to February the 14th.
The businesses, they're contributing on an executive level. We know there's a lot of, both in the public and private sector, there's women who are in lead positions. So it's very important. But so the key thing is confidence.
The establishment of the Indo-Fiji Business Promotion Association is expected to expedite trade with India. The association was launched by Attorney General and Minister for Industry and Trade, Ayasai Qayyum. A Ministry of Information statement says the organization will promote and facilitate trade and investment between the two countries. It's expected that business communities in both countries will communicate directly, share market intelligence, and facilitate business and joint ventures. The association will also create an enabling environment for the flow of technology, capital, and experts. Qayyum says the association will help improve the business and commercial relationship between the two countries. We go to Drew now with sports and Wellington Sevens in Wellington Heaven in Sevens.
Yes, there's definitely a party going on there as we continue our in-depth report. But that's coming up. Also in sport, a Sevens team exposed by Wales during friendly. And Paddy O'Brien polishes referees.